What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin and a few others today. We're going to kind of just go over the slew of the slot of the onslaught of cryptos we've been talking about. So, without any further ado, if you'd like to leave a like and subscribe, that's much appreciated always. But without any further ado, let's get into the TA side of things. Looking at it, you know, Bitcoin looks strong. It definitely looks strong. This is a nice strong move. On the 4 hour, the RSI is starting to get into this indecisive kind of zone where it's, you know, it's below the 50, above the 50, below the 50, above the 50, not really making moves or strides into the oversold or the overbought, but rejecting the bullish and bearish control zones. So it's just kind of, you know, doing exactly what you would expect with the price, which is just moving sideways, doing nothing. It's the weekend. It is Sunday today, technically, right? Or it's Saturday. It's Saturday. It is Saturday today, so we still have one more day after today. This week has a day and 5 hours left in it. You know, we could see a big move within the next like 29 hours, 30 hours. We could see a big move, but I would honestly more expect that we're going to see not a whole lot going on. And if we see a big move, I would bet that through the coming week, you know, starting Monday, that we would probably give that move back, whether it's to the upside or the downside. You know, we'd probably give that move back. I think. I don't know. I'm not expecting that we move up from here. I am expecting that we move down. We've got, you know, this RSI here again. Anytime that we've gone overbought to out of the overbought zone, we've had like a minimum drop of what, like 8% from top to bottom, with a maximum drop, or, you know, like an average drop around like 14%. So anywhere between like 8 and 14% is kind of what I'm looking for. We are doing something right now that's kind of similar to this over here, right? We had our nice little pop up, and we're moving sideways. We went out of the overbought zone, and we tested the overbought zone and rejected it. Well, we're looking to test it right now, and we probably will reject it. You know, from top to bottom here, that was an 8% move. So maybe we see something like that. Maybe Bitcoin sees an 8% move from top to bottom. Right now, it's only got a 5% move. Oh, it's 6%. As of yesterday, it had 6% move. And I know it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but, you know, bottom at 29,400 versus a bottom at around like 28,800, 28,900. It's a little bit different, you know, and it could go lower. It really could go lower. What you'd want to see if you didn't want the price to go lower, what you would want to see is, I mean, you'd basically want to hold the 382. You wouldn't want to close a candle on a daily basis, probably even on a 4 hour basis. You wouldn't want to close a candle below the 382 here. I would anticipate, just because the 382 is right there, I would anticipate that we would at least see a drop down to there, which from top to bottom, that's a little bit greater than an 8% move. It's almost a 9% move, but still right in that range that we're looking for, with the potential still to come down to this 618, down around 27K. It's totally possible. It could even go lower and still be in great shape. But the way that this is looking, just, you know, more of what I said last night, the way that this is looking, it just kind of looks like we came up, we're BARTing out now, and then what comes afterwards is down. If we're looking and we go to BART pattern, right? You know, that's this right here, right? Should bear a shocking resemblance, right? All these kind of things. Type it in yourself, you know, you'll see BART pattern. This is, I mean, what does this? New tab. Oops, I didn't mean to go to the tab. I meant to just blow up the picture. Whatever. What is this right here? If I can't. I don't know. Whatever. This look like. It looks just like this here, right? Except we haven't had the downside yet. It bears a very shocking resemblance, does it not? Very, very, very shocking resemblance. And let's see. I wonder if it has any. There's no volume readings here. Volume isn't really that important on the BART. I don't think. I mean, it comes at times of low volume, which, you know, in relativity to like price action beforehand, we are seeing a little bit more volume and spikes, but really nothing nothing incredible, nothing that, you know, like we still have yet to see volume really come back into the market like we did here on this run or this run here. It's still lacking, but that doesn't, I don't think that means anything bad for Bitcoin. I think that just means, you know, maybe we come down, get a better buying opportunity as we break these highs again. Maybe more volume will come in because it'll be more certain that we are going higher. But that's all I really wanted to say for Bitcoin right now. I do think that we're in an uptrend. I don't think this is the end of it. Though we could go down in the immediate term, you know, over the next like coming days, maybe even the coming week, we could do that. But I would expect some resolution to the downside, and I wouldn't expect a lower low than this, though that is totally possible. But at the moment, I would my current like lowest price estimation for Bitcoin at the moment, I would assume around 27K. You know, give or take a few $100s, 27K, maybe even to the 0.69 at 26.6K. It's kind of at the bottom of this range here, like that could totally, you know, really truthfully, it's like the bottom of this whole range before we started like doing this weird stuff at the end of it that was looking bearish, but then psych, just kidding, it's bullish. Aside from that, you know, if we don't hold these levels here, if we do come back down here, this could really start to look like an overall bull trap. Oops. And that would not be good, man. This being a bull trap right here would definitely not be good, because that would imply that we will likely see prices dramatically lower than this. I don't think that's what we're experiencing. I'm not anticipating that at the moment. I am anticipating a small pullback. We've got a long ways to go before this becomes any kind of bearish hope reality. I still very much am under the impression that this wants to go higher. It just might need to take a little backseat for a second, find its bearings, and then proceed to go higher afterwards. You know, it'd be like saying the same thing here, right? I think it wants to go higher, but maybe it needs to come down. Well, there you go. It went down, and then it came up higher. You know, or you could say the same thing here. I'm not expecting a big drop like this, though that could happen. But we were really far away from this purple line here. You know, we'd been above it for quite some time, and we were really far away from it. We had bearish divergence forming. You know, we don't really have any of that going. We are a little bit above the purple line now, but this long-term RSI is stronger, so I think we can get further away from it without touching it again. Personally, that's just my opinion, you know. So looking at BTC, that's really all I got. I want to look at PEPE now, because I know I gave PEPE the green light the other day. I'm probably going to take that away and give it a yellow light, or a whatever a not good light would be, maybe a red light. Let's give it a purple light. I don't know. USDT, maybe we'll just do, which one is it? It's the Poloniex one that has the most historical data. I mean, this, to be completely fair, the way that this pump has behaved has been different than any other PEPE pump, right? And I'll show you, if you don't know where I'm going with it already, I'll show you what I mean by it's different. Is, you know, here, at the very beginning, we had a pump, dramatic sell-off, okay? Even here, you had a top, dramatic sell-off, you know, relatively speaking. If you pump from bottom to top, you pump 118%, and it doesn't look that big, but from top to bottom here, you drop 45%, you give about half that move back. That's a pretty dramatic sell-off. You know, all the way up here even, like this little top to the low, that's a 42% drop right there. It came rather immediately. This one here, again, you know, 77% drop, but after you pumped, dump. And then all these little wicks along the way, every time you came up, you sold, and you actually proceeded to go lower. This time off of this pump, we haven't seen a dramatic drop yet. We've actually, at the most, so far, seen the least dramatic drop PEPE's had. It's only been a 20% drop, and it's holding. It is holding. I think it wants to go higher, maybe like Bitcoin, maybe like the rest of crypto. It wants to take a little bit of a low, a little bit of a retracement before proceeding higher. And that's just become more apparent throughout the days. You know, we are relatively at the top of this range, so it wouldn't be a bad time to sell. But we could come all the way back to the 886. We could come all the way back this low, and PEPE would still be in great shape. It could come to the 618 or the 382, and neither of those things should be unexpected. But again, something's telling me, you know, if it goes to the 382 or the 618, that's totally fine. But something's telling me that this isn't the relative like high. I mean, maybe relative to now it's the relative high, but I think this isn't the whole move. I think that this does want to go higher. You're in the overbought zone. The RSI looks really strong. I guess you're not overbought now, but you bounced off of this 55 area which isn't significant in most RSIs, but you can see here you found resistance on it before. So finding support where you found resistance, I don't care if it's on price or RSI, this does look good. This just looks like a little correction. From an RSI perspective, that's all it is. It's a little correction. You know, like look at how close these lows are in comparison to how far away these lows are. I think you're just cooling off. You're getting ready for your next move up. Maybe now is not a good time to buy it. Maybe you should wait. You know, I'm not telling anybody what to do. This is just my opinion. But maybe wait till we're back down to these lows or just a little bit lower than those lows. Even, you know, we do have a whole support range. Basically, I guess, I don't know, from this close here, which I guess is right there. You know, give or take a couple decimals. Buying around here might actually be a really good idea, and I bet if we came back down to this level, we'd be around the 50. If we were to bounce off the 50 on the daily, if we came down, closed around here, and then we were around the 50 here, and then bounced off of that, that'd be a really strong reading on the RSI. I do wonder, you know, from top to bottom here, we went up to the 382. We're finding resistance on it. We haven't rejected yet. It wouldn't surprise me if we came back to the 236. It wouldn't surprise me if, from the current price of PEPE, we dumped down about, give or take, like 15 to 20%, something like that. We might not, though. We might hold this white line of support and proceed higher. We don't have to touch the 236, though it is common behavior to kind of stair-step your way with the fibs. I don't know if this is a good top to measure this fib off of either. You know, if we were to actually go PEPE USDT on the Binance chart, this top might actually have more significance. I wouldn't normally measure a top from like the beginning day, but this is on Binance, the biggest exchange, and here you get a totally different fib reading. You know, here you're kind of messing with the 382, potentially finding support on it. Again, just the way this looks, I would think you'd want to come down to the 236 to find support, and from here on this fib, that is an over 20% drop. So personally, I wouldn't be buying here. Though it might not be a bad thing to start DCAing. Maybe you have $100, $1,000, whatever. You want to buy some PEPE, man. You don't care what anybody's telling you. You're going to buy some PEPE today. Take 10% of it. Take 20% of it. Whatever. Go ahead and DCA and then buy more. Throw in heavier positions as it goes lower. But that's not my recommendation. That's not what I would do. In fact, I'm waiting for PEPE to go a little bit lower before I get into it. I think, you know, from bottom to top here, seeing price come down to the 382 or even the 0.5 or even the 618 is totally in play. We are rejecting the 0.069. We've already gone below the 236. I would be very surprised if we didn't at least, from the current price, see a drop that was more than 15%. I would be surprised. So that's my honest opinion. I think PEPE goes a little bit lower from here, but nothing too extreme. It's not going to do like this stuff, and it could. It's totally possible, but I don't know if this is the end of this move. I think it does want to come higher. All that to say, little pullback and then higher. You know, we did a little Jesus coin last night. Let's check out what she's doing today, what he's doing today. Looks bearish on a daily perspective. There's not a whole lot to go off of. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if we came back down to these areas. We are holding this lower high formation, this kind of diagonal formation down. It's very, I think, easy to spot, even to the untrained eye. That's not it right there, but like something like this, you know, and I think this line's perfect actually, because here you're being held down below it. You actually broke above it, held it as support even. Now you're holding below it again. This could be, you know, PEPE could be in some kind of greater range to the downside. Let's see if we've got like a channel we can draw. You know, maybe something like this. I don't know. I don't know how I'd want to draw this. I mean, I'd want to call that the heart line there. That like main line, but it doesn't have to be. It could be. I mean, it could be like this. Let's see. I mean, the green line, yeah, it could be. I don't know. I don't really like that. It's definitely in some kind of channel. This chart, you know, it's such a low cap that it might be hard with all these wicks and stuff. It's hard to identify, but I don't know, man. Maybe something like that. I kind of like that more, actually. Yeah. So you might be if this is the way that this channel would be drawn. I would definitely expect that we're going to see us come down to the lower sides of this. We might even go lower than these previous lows here, but we'll probably stay in this range, probably work our way systematically. I don't think we're ready to go down here quite yet, so that's my opinion on Pepe, just a little short rendition. I think we're going to go down from here. I wouldn't be buying. I wouldn't recommend to buy. In fact, if I had any recommendations at all, it'd be to sell. But that's not financial advice. It's just an opinion, because that's all this is. It's just a channel based on opinions, man. I don't have any skin in the game. You know, if I was holding Jesus coin, I'd probably want to sell it right now. And I know, if you bought it up here, you sold it right here, you're selling at a 62% loss. That sucks. And I chose up here because this is like the middle of this topping range. But you know, if you don't sell here, it could drop. You could turn that 62% loss into a 75% loss, and from the current price, that's a 34% loss. Yes, it's only like an extra 10% down from the overall, but from the current price, that's like a 35% move. So I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable holding any right now. If I was trying to stack money for the long run and I'm not selling no matter how low this thing goes, and I'm just convinced that it's going to go to all-time highs eventually, then maybe don't be worried about selling. Maybe just be worried about buying more on the cheap side. I wouldn't buy here though. That's my 2 cents for Jesus coin. We can do BCH next. BCH USD. Gotta love BCH, man. So far, my strategy of waiting for a pullback has yet to bear any fruit. We are definitely, I mean, sure, we're down a little bit now from the top, but we've been down a little bit before. 11% isn't much for Bitcoin Cash. You know, from here, from top to bottom, it went down 16%. So, you know, it's not really doing anything too out of the ordinary. I do expect it to go lower. I do expect Bitcoin Cash to probably have a more dramatic pullback out of most of the charts that we've, if in fact out of any of them that we've just looked at. The reason for that, though, is because it had the most dramatic up move. It could have a 50% drop from here in price, and it would still be in really good shape. I don't think it's going to drop 50%. I mean, it could. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, it could drop 50% from here. It's totally possible. I'm, at the moment right now, my game plan for Bitcoin Cash is probably to start DCAing slightly below the 382, probably around like the 190s, somewhere in there. And originally down here, my plan was to like have a heavy bag DCA and then slightly lower as it went lower. You know, normally you would do, like, if you had 100% of your portfolio you're trying to DCA, you do 10% at first, right? 20% on your next buy, 30% on your next buy, and then maybe put the rest in at your lowest hopeful buy. Maybe it's 10% all the way down, or 5%. You know, maybe it's different percentages, but that's just like an example. I was down here saying, because I was expecting that it would go higher, and probably fast, I was expecting to buy like 50% of my bag at like a slightly lower retracement, and then, you know, do a kind of reverse DCA accumulation there. But now I'm back into like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but now I'm back into like the regular idea, which would be like from the 382, a little bit below it actually, I would put like 10% in, maybe go heavier at the 50%, maybe put in like 30%, so I'd have like 40% total. Maybe do a 50% buy at the 618, so then I would have a 90% total and an extra 10% down here, something like that. But I would expect, I'm definitely going to set up buy orders after this video. I'm going to set up buy orders somewhere in this range, probably like 4 or 5 buy orders, just to kind of layer it through, because I do think that this drop will be swift, and then I think up to the upside we go. And maybe it's not swift, maybe it's systematic, whatever. One way or another, I'm not buying up here, not with the way that the chart's looking currently, because we are overbought and we have bearish divergence. And this is why I was kind of like hopefully bearish down here. I didn't want to see this, but you know, anytime that it gets bearish divergence, I feel like we get we do get stifled off of these big moves. You know, here we had some bearish divergence. It didn't really get stifled. I mean, yes, technically over time it went down, but comparing this to this, it's just not the same. The reading on the RSI is different. The reading in the price itself is different. You're way further above the purple line. This long-term RSI here is different. If we were to compare it to anything, really, I don't know. Maybe moves up here, as dramatic as that might seem, because your long-term RSI is higher. You're higher up in the RSI. You don't really have bullish or bearish divergence here. You kind of do here, and you are plateauing a little bit, I don't know. You know, we could see a move something like this. It's really hard to say. There's not really a good example. I guess here from top to bottom, you kind of have bearish divergence, but again, this doesn't seem like the same move to me. That's only a 26% drop. I don't know, man. Anytime you get bearish divergence, though, the price action does stifle itself, and ultimately it does roll over. You know, had a nice strong move up, then you get your bearish divergence forming. You went up a little bit more with some strong moves, but then ultimately you came down again. I don't know. What I'm trying to say, guys, is I'm not buying here. I want to buy. I definitely want to buy Bitcoin Cash, but I'm not buying here. I'm waiting for a pullback, and at a minimum, you know, the 236 is really what should be expected, which is about $50 away from here. But I'm truthfully, I'm looking more to the 382 and probably slightly below that. Maybe we don't go to the 0.5. I did a video yesterday talking about Bitcoin Cash and how almost always it sees the 0.5, if not just a little bit above it, and if not actually more than that. I think there were 2 instances in all of Bitcoin Cash's history where if you take a major fib from any like relative low to a relative high, that it did not reach the 0.5. But even not reaching the 0.5 here would still put it around 180. That's still a ways away from where we are. So I'm definitely not inclined to be buying Bitcoin Cash right now. But that's all I got to say on Bitcoin Cash. What's another one? Let's look at Litecoin. Good old Litecoin, LTC USD, baby. Nice pop, really nice pop. I don't think it's done here. It could reject here. You know, closing a day where the short-term RSI is back out of the overbought zone. If we close this day red and we get out of the overbought zone on a closing basis, that would be telling, in my opinion, that this move is going to be given back pretty immediately. You went up to the 2272. That's nice. You could come back down to like $97, $98, something like that, and then be totally fine. Overall, you know, from a low to high here, yeah, $94 right at this previous high. Finding support on that on the 382, that would actually kind of make sense. So it wouldn't surprise me. I know last night I was talking about it going higher, and it might go higher from here, but just with how it hasn't proceeded so far, and you do have bearish divergence on the 4-hour, that's not encouraging. It did go higher. It did. It tried to, and it got rejected. Things are different now, and that's all it takes, man. It really just takes. I know back here I was bullish, but now I'm bearish, and sometimes that's all it takes, man. We're not getting any follow through with volume. We're not getting any follow through with price. You are still technically in the overbought zone, which is a strong reading holding up here, but you are playing with this bearish divergence, man, and I'm not too encouraged by it. It wouldn't surprise me if this came back down to the purple line, or slightly higher above that, but somewhere down to let's see, I mean anywhere from like a 8% drop from now to maybe like a 16% drop. That's really not much for Litecoin, but it does make this not ideal buying conditions. If you're a breakout trader, you would have bought as soon as it broke out already, so you'd be in the green a little bit here, but it might be a good time to take chips off the table. But what do I know, man? This breaking out like this could very well signal the beginning of the move. But again, from a top to bottom, crypto likes to do this, man. I don't know what's up with it, but it likes to top off at a 2272 sometimes. And I don't know, 2272, potentially closing below the 1886. I would think you'd at least want to come back to the 1272, if not the 1618, but probably the 1272. That's I don't know. That's my interpretation of this tiny fib. There's not really a whole lot to go off of there. If we're looking at it on more significant time frames, on the weekly, you are kind of around this purple line. You're above the 50, or you're above the 50 on the long-term RSI, which would mean that inevitably, I think this will get above the purple line soon. Soon being weeks or months. We're on the weekly time frame, and you are showing strength in the short-term RSI. Anytime you get below the 50, it's not for long. So again, any pullback from here, I don't think it would be substantial, and I think that you are going to move higher than this inevitably. But maybe for for the next couple days, maybe for this week, it takes a break. I don't know. If we're looking at this high here to the bottom here, this low, finding resistance on the 382, you broke above it, found support on the 236. This looks good, man. This really does look good up to the 618, at least to the 618, which from here, That's about a 57 to a 60% move. It could break through and go to the 6.9. We've seen that plenty of times. It could go to the 7.86 or higher even. But it wouldn't surprise me to find some form of resistance here. Maybe you check back down, find support, whatever, go up from there. But at the moment, just with this fib on a longer, more significant time frame based perspective, this looks good. This looks really healthy. It looks you're holding support on the 0.069, held support on the 236. Now all you're going to have to do is find support on the 382, which is right around $98. So I mean, you can wick below it and it's totally fine. You can wick as long as you're closing above it, and I think that would be really encouraging. It would be discouraging to see in the next day and a half or day and 5 hours that we close this week below this 382. That would be discouraging. I'd like to see it close above it. That would tell me that you're going to see this 618 in no time, if not higher, honestly. Looking at the monthly, on the monthly you broke through it. You broke through the 382. You closed above it, which is nice. Definitely encouraging. Same kind of thing here, but this is just more significant, I guess. From this top here, this fib works out too. Again, you're potentially finding resistance on the 0.5 here. Maybe you come back down to this 382 and find support, which is around $87. A previous topping area, a previous support area, totally normal. But I think this thing does want to go higher. 140 is where that 618 is. 170 is where this one is. You know, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. I don't know which one houses more significance at the moment, but it'll be interesting to see what it acts, how Litecoin reacts to like the 140, 150 zone. If it's resistance, you know, you're going to flirt around here for a little bit, and then you'll break up. If not, you'll probably go about to like 170 or 200, somewhere around there. If you can just break straight through this 140 to 150 zone, you'll probably go, yeah, I mean, like you could go to the 200s, no problem, if you disregard this area. But I'm sorry, this area, the top area here. But I'm under the impression you might find significance there because that is a previous top, and from top to bottom here, you know, I guess actually there's not a whole lot going on. Maybe it was this fib that I was thinking. The 140 is the 618 there. And you are finding significance on this fib. You are finding significance on this one. I'm having a hard time deciding which one I would rather go off of. This one says you're going to go higher than 140. You know, this one says you might find trouble at 140. So I guess to base which fib would be ultimately more telling or a better one to use, let's just see how it reacts around the 140, 150 level. That's basically what I got for Litecoin. Last but not least, you know, this one, and this one will probably bore a lot of people away, but NIU Technologies, man, I like NIU. It is going down at the moment. I sold it back at $4.35. We are right now currently below $4. We had very unusual behavior with NIU, and we're kind of experiencing it right now with Bitcoin. It's not that it never happens, it's just unusual. And that would be what I'm referring to, is the fact that you went down here, formed a high, formed a low. You went straight through the 618. You went all the way up. You even broke through the 886 without really having any checks back. Very strong move. You didn't get any extensions. That's not normal with this kind of move. You would at least, I mean, maybe some kind of a pullback to the 618 beforehand or the 886, and then you go up. But this turning over like this, rolling over, breaking down, having closing periods below the 886, and then just, you know, doing basically a reversal of progressing through this fib. But before at least seeing the extensions, it's not common. It's not common. So at the moment, I am looking for NIU to find support around the 236, which is around $3.60, 65 cents, or if not the 0.069, which is around 3.5. I did sell at $4.35, and I'm definitely prepared to get back in, but it depends on what crypto's doing, man. I might not be messing around with this anymore. I might actually just move over to like Bitcoin Cash or to some other cryptos because they're more exciting. But all in all, because I have been talking about NIU on this channel, I do think it goes higher. You know, from top to bottom here, let's see. Ultimately, I would think that this stock is going to see prices above $7, probably above $9 or $10 even. I wouldn't be surprised if you went back to the top area of this range here, maybe even to the top of this. But I think that's going to happen in the coming months for sure. It is a stock, so it does move slower, but I would bet in the coming months it's going to see some kind of nice price movement to the upside. I have bought some options in this. I do expect it to be above 750 by the end of the year, and that's kind of what I'm playing off of right now. But I think that's it, man. I think that's like almost every coin. You know, we could go over ELON Mars, even Doge, ELON USDT, because I know I went over that one here. Let's see, from bottom to top. Bouncing right off the 1414, man. That's beautiful. Finding resistance on the 100, not encouraging. You might actually come down to the 1618. That's totally possible. Right around this area, this like kind of closing area. You could even wick slightly below it, but that could very well be the low. That very well could be the low for ELON Mars here. Let's see on a daily. Let's look at. Actually, I'm gonna bump it back out to the weekly. Look at the RSI coming out of the oversold zone. I mean, you could come back down lower, form some kind of bullish divergence, but I kind of like this, man. I kind of like that for a bottom. This I mean, you're literally at like a previous area of resistance, right? If we went to a closing, whatever. If you were to take the closing period of this week. You literally tipped this previous area of resistance, closed right here where we had a high close on a weekly basis. That could have been the bottom for ELON Mars. That very well could have been the bottom for this cycle at least. RSI is not really showing strength. They're definitely showing weakness. You'd want to start showing strength from here if you want to, prove that right. Let's see, from here top to bottom, 618 is all the way up at, what is that, 60322. So you're going to want to gain about like 100% in value here before we really have any like telling signs of what this thing is going to do. You definitely would like to stop going lower, maybe mess around in this range a little bit. Let's see on the daily what we could expect. Maybe we're above the 50. It's looking like it wants to get above the 50, man. You might be on your way actually. ELON Mars might be having a big move here soon to the upside. From the current price, seeing a move, and I said from the current price, come on now, current, you could see a move that's 50% or more in the coming weeks, coming days. It's totally possible. It might do this exact thing and give it back immediately as soon as it comes, but I think you might be making a move above this purple line right now. I really do. You're below the 50 on this long-term RSI, but as you climb up, this could change. This really could be the bottom, man, for ELON Mars. It really very well could be. Looking at it on the 4-hour, showing strength in the 4-hour, more so than any other ones. You're bouncing off the oversold zone here, getting up into higher areas here, not bearishly diverging. Yeah, it's probably just being held back right now because most of crypto's taking a break. It's the weekend, whatever. But I think ELON Mars will go higher. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, if you like all the coins I went over, if you want to see more coins, throw them in the comments. Let me know what you're interested in. If you have any stocks or anything you want to see, let me know. Leave a like, subscribe to see more. This channel is so small, man, and it feels big because I'm at 127 subscribers now. Thank you all so much for that. I'm very grateful. This channel has literally more than doubled in size in the last month, which is just incredible. And I mean, shit, man, it's almost 3 times in size over the last month, actually, which is great. I'm really grateful. Thank you all so very much. But it's still small enough where you can leave comments, and I'm going to get back to you on it. I'm going to, that day, that hour, whatever. I will do requests. I don't care if it's a shitcoin. I don't care how, give me a chart, something that has a chart on it. I don't care if it's got 1 day's worth of data. We will look at the 15-minute time frame or the 1-minute time frame, but like whatever you got, send it my way. I'm more than willing to do TA on it. I'll give you my most honest answer. It won't be the correct answer every time. It's it's always a guessing game. Nothing that I say is a prediction or is a prophecy. It is all predictions. It's all based off of what we've seen historically and apply it to what we're seeing now to kind of see if we can get similar results or bet on similar results, basically. And I use that word bet because it is a gamble. Nobody knows. If you're taking a position one way or another, up or down, but you don't know, you are gambling. You are gambling your position. You are betting against the odds or with the odds or whatever. All that to say, guys, I hope you like this little rendition of a bunch of different coins today. I just felt like doing it because there's not a whole lot going on, so why not just talk about everything in one go? So hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.